My name is Maria Zulay Salaues, and for the longest time, the world knew me simply as a model from Bolivia, a face on Instagram, or later, as the wife of a football superstar. But the image the public sees is rarely the full truth of a human soul. My journey to where I stand today, as a woman at peace, a mother, and a Muslim, was not a sudden leap, but a slow, quiet walk towards a light I didn't even know I was looking for. To understand my heart now, you have to understand where I came from, and the emptiness that once lived in the spaces between the flashing lights and the comfortable life I led. I was born in Revert, Bolivia, a place far removed from the stadiums of Europe and the mosques of Mecca. My upbringing was traditional, rooted in a wealthy Christian family. Like many in my country, faith was part of the background of my life, but it wasn't the center. I studied business administration at the University of Bolivia, focused on my education and my future career. Eventually, I felt the pull of something different, something bigger, and I moved to the United States to pursue a career in modeling. It was a time of excitement and ambition. I was young, chasing dreams that I thought would bring me happiness. I was surrounded by beauty, fashion, and the fast pace of Miami. But in the quiet moments alone, I often felt a strange disconnect. It is a feeling many people have but few talk about. The feeling that you are running a race without knowing where the finish line is, or why you are even running. It was during this time, around 2017, that my path crossed with Paul. When you meet someone whose life is so public, it is easy to get swept up in the noise around them. But what struck me about Paul wasn't his fame, or his skill on the pitch. It was something quieter. It was his discipline. I watched him in his private moments, away from the cameras. I saw him pray. I saw the way he grounded himself. In a world that is constantly screaming for attention, he had a way of turning inward, of connecting with God in a way that seemed so personal and so necessary for his survival. He never preached to me. He never told me I had to change or that my way was wrong. He simply lived his truth, and witnessing that silent devotion planted a seed of curiosity in my heart. I began to wonder, what is this peace he has? And could I find it too? I remember the early days of our relationship, the intense scrutiny from the media. Everyone had an opinion about us. They saw the glamour, the vacations, the headlines, but behind closed doors, I was beginning my own private investigation. I started asking questions. At first, they were simple questions about why he prayed at certain times, or what the words meant. But slowly, they became deeper. I wanted to know about God in Islam. I wanted to know about the purpose of life according to the Quran. I didn't rush. I am a person who needs to understand things for myself. I cannot just follow blindly. So I read, I observed, I listened. The transition was gradual. It wasn't a lightning bolt from the sky. It was more like the sun rising slowly over a horizon. The more I learned, the more the pieces of the puzzle began to fit. The values of Islam, modesty, charity, the importance of family, the constant remembrance of the Creator, resonated with the person I wanted to become. I realized that the happiness I had been chasing in my career and my social life was fleeting. It was temporary. But the peace I saw in Islam felt permanent. It felt like an anchor in a stormy sea. The true turning point, the moment my heart fully opened, came with motherhood. When I became pregnant with our first son, everything changed. There is something about bringing a new life into the world that forces you to examine your own foundation. I looked at my growing family and asked myself, what values do I want to pass on? What is the truth I want my children to know? I realized I didn't just want them to be successful. I wanted them to be good. I wanted them to have a compass. And I knew with absolute certainty that Islam was that compass. It was then, over 7 years ago now, that I made the decision. I remember the feeling of saying the Shahada. It was a release. It was an acknowledgement that I was not in control, that there is a greater plan, and that I was submitting to the will of the one who created me. I want to be very clear about this, because people often assume that women convert for their husbands. This was my choice. It was my heart. Paul supported me, yes, but he did not push me. Faith cannot be forced. If it is forced, it is not real. My submission to Allah was an act of my own free will, a gift I gave to myself. Wearing the hijab and dressing modestly became the next step in my journey. In the world of fashion and modeling, your body is often treated as a commodity, something to be looked at and judged. Choosing modesty was an act of reclamation. It was my way of saying that my worth is not in my appearance, but in my character and my relationship with God. It wasn't easy at first. Changing how you present yourself to the world can be daunting. You worry about what people will say, especially old friends or family who knew you differently. But the respect and protection I felt in modest dress far outweighed any criticism. I felt dignified. I felt like I was finally protecting the most precious parts of myself. One of the most beautiful aspects of this new life has been the experience of Ramadan. Before I became Muslim, I didn't understand fasting. From the outside, it looks difficult. No food, no water, long days. But from the inside, it is the most spiritually charged time of the year. I remember my first Ramadan. I was nervous. I wondered if I could do it. But as the days went on, I felt a lightness in my spirit that I had never experienced before. Hunger reminds you of your fragility. It reminds you of those who have nothing. And most importantly, it clears the fog from your mind so you can focus entirely on Allah. Now, as I prepare for another Ramadan, my heart is filled with anticipation. It is a time for our family to slow down. We wake up before dawn for suhoor, the house quiet and peaceful. We break our fast together at iftar, feeling a gratitude for a simple glass of water that you just cannot feel at any other time. Seeing my husband and now our children involved in this atmosphere of worship brings tears to my eyes. It is the legacy I wanted to build. We are not just a family of football and fame. We are a family of faith. There are challenges, of course. Being a Muslim woman in the West, especially one in the public eye, comes with its own set of trials. I see the comments online. I hear the misunderstandings people have about our religion. Sometimes it hurts, but mostly it motivates me. It motivates me to be a better example. I want people to see that Islam is not what they see on the news. It is love, it is patience, it is kindness. If my story, my photos, or my life can show just one person the beauty of this faith, then I have done my job. I look back at the girl in Bolivia, and I look at the woman I am today, and I see two different people. But I don't regret my past. My past was the road that led me here. Every confusion, every mistake, every moment of loneliness was necessary because it pushed me to seek the truth. I am grateful for every step. Today, my life is full. Not because of material things, though I am blessed with them, but because my soul is at rest. I wake up knowing why I am here. I go to sleep knowing I am protected. I have found that Islam is not a restriction of freedom, as some might think. It is the ultimate freedom. It is freedom from the expectations of society, freedom from the slavery of the ego, and freedom to be exactly who God created you to be. To anyone out there who is searching, who feels that same disconnect I felt years ago, I say this: do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to look beyond what you have been told. The journey to the truth is the most important journey you will ever take. It might start with curiosity, like it did for me. It might start with a struggle. But if you are sincere, if you open your heart, the light will find you. I am Maria Zulay, and I am proud to say that I am a Muslim. This is my story, and this is my path to light.